Okay. Record this. Let me see who else came in on the call. Julissa, how are you? Really happy to have you here. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Guys, please take a bunch of notes because just listening to this video has helped me a ton, okay? So I'm gonna play this since the beginning, okay? And let me know on the comment section if you guys can hear everything well. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear this, okay? Everybody else, can you guys hear it? Elvia, Alma, Eduardo, Itzel? I want to make sure that, can we hear it?
So tonight, I'm Bruce Whitfield, and on the sidelines of the Discovery Financial Planning Conference recently, where one of the speakers was a man called Peter Rosengard. Peter Rosengard is an insurance salesman. He's been selling insurance for 46 years. I want some of his war stories from the trenches of selling insurance, but also some broader themes on selling. They tell me, Peter Rosengard, that you are the world's greatest insurance salesman. What makes a great insurance salesman?
Well, first of all, I certainly wouldn't say that, and I don't know who said that, but it's very, very nice of them to say that. I'm quite sure there are far more successful people than me somewhere, but, you know, I'm a life insurance salesman. I'm not an insurance salesman. I only sell life insurance.
But you sold your first life insurance policy was sold within 17 minutes of you falling into a job you didn't really want.
I live in London. I've lived there my whole life, the greatest city in the world, as you know. In answer to your question, Bruce, that first sale, yeah, that was when we had a Cannes presentation, and I'd been given the carrier bag with Superman on the outside by the guy who recruited me in Oxford Circus, by Piccadilly Circus in London. I was 22.
But what was it about the sales process that got you? Because once you sold your first insurance policy was sold as you walked out of the office. You jumped into a London taxi.
Yeah.
And
Ray Langton, his name was.
You read the insurance document.
I read the word for word. I asked you after about, and the first lines were, I've recently been talking to lots of successful businessmen like yourself. Of course, he was the first person I'd ever spoken to. A week earlier, I was a DJ in a club in Stockholm introducing the New Yardbirds, who became Led Zeppelin a week or two later. So this is a little different for me.
Did you ever sell any insurance to Led Zeppelin members?
I sold life insurance to lots of rock stars because I looked like a rock star. You should get the picture. You saw the picture.
We'll get the picture. We'll get the. You look a little bit like George Harrison.
Well, everybody looked like that. You know, some people look like Brad Pitt. I look like Charles Manson, unfortunately. But anyway, that was the look, and I was, you know, jeans, a t-shirt, and long hair, and I was selling to guys in London. The swinging 60s. I was selling to the fashion guys, the music guys, the bands.
But with zero training, zero experience, you've got what in Yiddish is termed chutzpah. Because you've never shied.
My dad's from Glasgow. I'm a Hebrew Highlander, the Rosengard.
Yeah.
I guess I've got chutzpah. That means for your non-Jewish visitor, that's the gall, the cheek, the balls to go for it. Yes.
This audience understands chutzpah. You've never shied away from an opportunity. And I suppose in sales generally, not just life insurance.
Well, I love life. I forgot to tell them. I never got to give half my speech really, but I really wanted to say at the end of it, I mean, I've never gone to work in my life. It's just been fun and adventure. I mean, you know what I'm saying, the beautiful women, you know, the groupies, you know, the glamour of life insurance, the beautiful women who'll stop at nothing to buy life insurance. It's a very well kept secret, Bruce.
The power of selling is that ability to talk to strangers, and you would go up to strangers in the street on King's Road.
I'd go to anybody. Listen, what's the worst? If you don't ask, you don't get. What's the worst thing that could possibly happen? They say no. Next. Next. My whole career has been spent on next. Every no has brought me closer to a yes. But you see, in the early days, I came into this business not just save children from the yawning jaws of poverty should their parents be widowed. I was 22 years old. I came in it to make a living like everybody else. I came in it because I couldn't think of anything else to do, and it seemed a good way to make a living. But very quickly, over the years, I learned. And that's a great reason to go into this business, to make a wonderful living if you're successful, like any profession. And it has become a profession for me and thousands of other, you call yourself financial advisors or estate planners. I like to call myself a life insurance salesman because I like to look in the mirror, and that's what I actually do. I sell life insurance. But I've learned how important, how valuable it is. And I've seen families that have been torn apart when the husband dies young and leaves young kids, and they have to move out of the house because they had a huge mortgage, and they have to take them out of great schools. And everything he dreamed for his family has been destroyed in a blitzkrieg. We used to have the Blitz in London before,
Absolutely.
a blitzkrieg. And life assurance means that that will never happen, ever, ever happen. His family, whatever happens to him, and a lot of young men don't make 65, the check that I deliver will make sure the kids can go to school and be educated and have the holidays.
That's the sales. That's the sales.
No, that's the true.
Yeah,
Look, let me explain something to you. I spend, my life insurance premiums are many thousands of pounds a month myself. I have a daughter who I love to pieces. I would take a bullet for my daughter. I'm sure you have children.
I do.
You
I do.
Take a bullet for your child. Every
Some
father
days.
would.
Some days I would.
Every
Yes.
father would, and that's why people buy life insurance, because it's a gift of love
Now,
to their family. And I speak on behalf of the children.
Yeah.
I say to a
But that's your
prospect,
sales
I say
pitch
to him,
is.
I'm
Yes.
talking on behalf of your children. Let me see your family, because if you don't believe in it, and I'm an evangelist, because I know what life insurance does, it saves families' lives. And I've seen it happen, and I've delivered. And my clients who've been with me, I have dozens, hundreds and hundreds of clients who've been with me for 30, 40 years, and they come back. Every year they buy more and more as they become more successful. So I must be doing something incredibly valuable for them, don't you think? Otherwise they wouldn't keep coming back.
Your secret seems to be you do volume rather than scale. So you've got hundreds of meetings every single year. You will sell.
You've got to remember, a lot of my clients are now in their 60s. I'm 68. I'll be 70 next year. So a lot of my clients are full up.
Yeah.
You know, so now we're doing estate planning for other clients. I don't do an awful lot. I'm very proud to tell you that, you know, 24 years ago, I sold the world's largest life insurance policy for $100 million from a cold call to an American billionaire.
But that's the chutzpah. Tell me the chutzpah story, please, because it's
What's that story?
Yeah, that's
well,
it.
I'd spent my life, and I have spent my career selling lots of small policies. I've never been interested in, you know, I've never suffered from what we call in our industry big case-itis. Big case-itis is the other salesman you talk to many times. How are you doing, John? Oh, I'm working on the big one. Okay, how's it going? 6 months later, how are you doing? I really think the big one's coming along. What have you done in the last 6 months? Well, nothing, because I'm working on the big one. This conversation normally takes place about 6 months before the man is out of the business. And thank God I've never suffered from big case.
Tell me about your big case.
Because the big case never happens. My big case in 1990, which got me in the Guinness Book of Records until last year, incredibly, for 24 years, he said modestly. Well, life's too short to be modest. I'm very proud of this. It started because I read I decided to sell the world's largest life insurance policy, as one does. I'd read the largest policy in history was in $34 or $32 million in the Guinness Book of Records. And it was to a Texas rancher or something. And I've read about this for years, it had been in the book, and I thought, surely it's time I could do this. I mean, I was looking for somebody to sell it to. And one day I knew it'd have to be a hugely rich person to qualify for 100. I didn't even know how big it could be. I just wanted to beat that record. And one morning in June, I think it was 1990, July, I opened my newspaper in London, and there was a headline business story, the whole media were covering it all over the world. MCA Universal had bought a record company on the life of the owner of the record company, and it was, his name is David Geffen, and he was a brilliant genius at discovering new stars. But I read they paid $500 million. I think it was $500 million. And I knew that meant they weren't buying plant or equipment, they were buying his genius at discovering a new Guns N' Roses, which he discovered, for example, or a new Madonna or whatever. And so I thought, well, what I did was I called the president from a call box before mobile phones. Well, I've tracked him down. It wasn't easy. I kept calling back, asking for promotions and advertising and market research and departments. And finally, I kept saying, is Sid there? No. Is Sid there? No. Is Sid? And finally, somebody said, no, it's still in Florence at the film festival or something. So, you know, it doesn't matter how famous you are, whether you're the president of the United States, you have to go to the bathroom at some time and change for dinner. So I called him, and at 7 o'clock, a couple of hours later, and I got put through right away, and he answered the phone, and I said, Sid, Sid, I didn't know him from Adam. I said, Sid, I'm Peter Rosengard. I'm a life insurance salesman in London calling to congratulate you on this fantastic deal you've done. You've left EMI, who thought they bought Geffen, with egg on their face, and clearly, you know, this is all 25 years ago. And
he was impressed by the fact that you cared.
he said, how can I help you? I said, well, he wasn't stupid. He knew I wanted something. I said, well, but he was touched that I called to congratulate him. I now congratulate everybody I ever meet. Because a lot of people never congratulate you. When you do a great interview, does your producer ever say,
well, my producer's about to rip my head off because we're going over time. How did you seal the deal, Peter?
I called him and I said, he said, how can I help you? I said, I've had one question for you. He said, well, I said, if the answer's positive, we progress it. If it's negative, I'll say, congratulations again, this fantastic deal. It's all over the media. Well done. He said, what is your question, Peter? And I said, well, if David walks under a truck, the gentleman walks under a truck on the Hollywood Boulevard, David Geffen, and is killed in 5 minutes' time by a road accident, am I right in assuming that MCA Universal have just lost hundreds of millions of dollars? And then I shut up, which is extremely difficult for me, as you can tell.
Yes, it is.
And I knew the first one to speak would lose the deal, and I felt like an hour. It was probably 10 seconds of silence, and then I couldn't stand it anymore. I said, so what do you think? He said, well, Peter, he said, you know what chutzpah means? I said, Sid, my name's Peter Rosengard. I know what chutzpah is. I'm a Hebrew Highlander. He said, well, Peter, you've really got chutzpah calling me, but your timing is immaculate. And I said, thank you, Sid. Do you think it's a good idea? He said, what do you propose? He said, I said, well, I propose, I obtained the world's largest life insurance policy in the history of life insurance on the life of David Geffen. And he said, and I thought he said, well, how much would that be? I had no idea. I hadn't even thought this through. I didn't know that I was going to be out. And I knew the biggest was the 34 million on the rancher's wife in Texas. And I knew I couldn't say 30. So I said, off the top of my head, I said, $100 million I think I could obtain for you. And I thought he'd say, you're out of your mind, and put the phone down. And he just said, okay. So and my heart's going boom, boom, boom. And he said, well, how much would that be? And I had no idea, but I knew what £1 million cost. So I just added two more zeros. And he said, okay, right, okay, you know. So, and I said, well, what do you think? He said, is it a good idea? He said, yes. A day later, I was sitting with his right-hand guy in London. 4 weeks later, the board met of MCA and voted to buy the world's largest life insurance policy for $100 million.
That's a record that's stuck for 24 years. It's called chutzpah, and it's also called talking them in circles until they give up. Peter Rosengard, really nice to meet you. He held the record, incidentally, at one of the world's biggest insurance companies for 12 years.
Hello. How are you? So guys, literally, let me see the comments. Hello everyone, how, yes, wow. I would love, before I continue on the training, to hear your guys' thoughts about that video. Let me pick on someone. I'm gonna pick on Susana. Tell me a little bit about what you thought about that video.
I like it because he didn't know much and he just kept answering, and I'm like, thank you.
Yes, yes. Itzel, what do you thought about that video?
I really loved his energy and how he felt so proud to be a life insurance agent. That's like what caught my attention the most, like his happiness and then his proudness of what he does, or what he, yeah.
Exactly. Cynthia, I saw you jumped on the call. Thank you, Itzel, for sharing.
Yes, I really liked that he just went for it. You know, just go for it. If it doesn't work out, well, so what? It wasn't in place anyway. So I think he also went on his intuition, because the client said, you know, that your timing is just right. So there's something that with experience you can feel. So I think he went on his intuition, and if it wouldn't have worked, so what? So he was like really relaxed. You can tell in his tone of voice that he has a lot of experience. And like Itzel said, that he's really proud of what he does because he has seen it. He has seen it work. And he's also seen the tragedies when people don't move forward.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing. Last person. Elvia, are you there?
See, I'm here.
What did you think about that video?
I thought it showed me a lot of things. One of the things is like it's to never give up. You never know what the next call it's gonna be about. I think that's one of the most important things. You could cold call 60, 90 people, but maybe that last one or that next one, it's gonna be your gold mine right there. So I mean, I think that's pretty much it. It's just to never give up. And also, never think that some people are too much for you. It's you're doing something for a person, and never think that you are less than anybody else, or minimize yourself just because someone is very powerful, because you never know. As we have talked before about, people are good about what they do or what their business is, but not everybody has life insurance, so you never know. It can be the most rich person in the world, but they might not have their finances in place or in order. So just do your job with every single person, regardless of their status.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. And actually something that I love, because he said he started at 22, so I would love to pick on the youngest one. Thank you so much, Elvia, for sharing that information. But to finish off, Julissa, are you on the call? Because you are officially the youngest in this call, so I would love to hear your thoughts on this video.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hi. Yes, I'm Jalissa, and okay, apparently I am the youngest one. To me, I thought it was just like really like refreshing and nice to hear those things, because he explained like his whole story from the beginning, and as a young one, like it was just like amazing to hear how he came so far, and so like he never stopped. I like when he said that when he asked another one, when he was talking about the whole like 6 months, I can't remember who he mentioned, but he said that that guy that was waiting for 6 months for the big one, it was like, why was he waiting so long and stuck on that one case when he could have moved on to the others and done more, right, for everybody else? And for him, it just happened to him because he wasn't even expecting it. And I just thought it was like so crazy how like it works, like you do it because you love to do it. And he even said that in the beginning too, that he wasn't even expecting to be a life insurance agent, and it just so happened, and he's forever thankful for it. And look at the great things that have been happening to him. And I just thought that was super nice.
Exactly. Yes. Really great input. I like that. Thank you, Julissa. Really, for me, we've talked about Professor Hampton, and this is a guy that his minimum client is used to minimum putting in these trusts and in these policies $100 million. So he was the person that would train us way back for a bunch of Saturdays. He would do trainings for us, and one day he put this video for us. And since that day, for me, the way I saw the industry changed, and I love, like even today when I help the client, I told him really straight up, I'm like, I always have to clarify, Wilfredo, because you think you're my client, but in reality, your kids and your wife, the orphans and the widow, are the clients in this scenario. And I want you to know that everything I'm doing is for them. So every time I'm sitting with a client, I always reiterate what he said, what Rosenberg said, that is the client. So I wrote some notes what I love about one of the biggest things is he fought for it when the guy, right, was trying to say like, well, that's your speech or whatever, that's your sales pitch. He's like, no, that's the truth, right? So he was aggressive in a positive way to get his point across concerning what he does. And I love that. I love that video. I've seen it a lot of times. And today I was thinking about, I'm like, I want to give you guys a little bit of motivation before we go into the analytics. And I thought about, why don't we just put the greatest life insurance, right? Video, so you guys can get an idea of his thought process, right? And I don't know if you heard, but the premium, what the client paid was $10 million. So that's what this person got paid. So he got paid millions of dollars for selling that policy, right? So that's where everything changes, right? Also, his sense of humor, energy, there is so much there that I enjoyed. So I hope all of you guys took a bunch of notes. And if you didn't, let me know so I can send you guys this video on WhatsApp. But I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna go really quick, right? And I'm gonna share my screen, okay? Is it okay if I change gears? 7:26, I'm gonna hurry up because the master, my boss, is looking at me like, you better hurry up, Isaac. Let me do this real quick. Let me do this real quick. And guys, can you guys see what I'm writing here? Yes? Awesome. Well, something that today my focus was about talking about the mindset of this industry, right? But one of the biggest things, right, that helps me, because mindset, we already dove in a little bit of the video, right? And we always have to, right? We always have to put in play and think about when it comes to mindset, right? When it comes to the way we think about this industry, and I'm gonna make this super short because then we're gonna do a longer video, but it's all about listening, right? So the mindset when you go into an appointment, right? To make it simple, Susana, Itzel with that beautiful baby, is when we're going into the appointment, we are a psychologist, okay? You got to put that hat on that you're going to listen to everything, because sometimes if the client mentions Jonathan, the son, 4 times, you gotta go in there, you be like, is this a special son? Is there special needs to him? Do you want to add something different? Yes, Isaac, actually my son, Jonathan, suffers from this and I'm a little bit worried for him. Oh, so that's where you start solving the issues. So when we're going into a family's home, they come to the office, wherever you're meeting them, is you always have to be super aware that your focus on being there is how can I listen to them so I can solve the problem? How do we solve what type of problem? Life insurance is not, right? Life insurance and retirement is not a need by the government. But when we have that, we bring peace, okay? So our number one issue, right, the way we can go from not having a sale to having a sale is identifying the pain points of the family and solving them, because the focus is we want to bring them the emotion of peace, okay? The emotion of peace. Sometimes in my mind, I've lost clients because I go in a mindset of they got to save $1,000 a month, or they got to have saved this $500 a month because they need to retire well, blah, blah, blah. But the client, that doesn't worry them. The client only wants $1 million in life insurance policy, and that's what he wants. And that is what is aching at him when it comes to his soul. That's what gives him anxiety, that if he dies tomorrow, his family is not going to have the money to survive. And we got to listen so that you can help him with that problem, right? So the number one thing is, I love how he said, I asked and then I shut up, right? our mindset, when I started in the industry, I would talk so much, and we think that because we talk so much and we talk so well, we get sales. But the only reason why we get sales is because we stop, we shut up, and we listen, right? So the mindset, keeping it super simple when we go to an appointment, is how can I solve this issue? And what is the issue? Tell me, what's worrying you, Susana? Isaac, this is what's worrying me. Perfect. This is how I can solve it. Okay? Awesome. Let me share my screen because I'm going to jump into how do I specify what I do. If there's questions, concerns, guys, please ask. I'm here. We're here. So, when I'm sitting with a client, guys, right, one of the biggest things is when people say, right, I'm a life insurance agent focused on retirement or finances, right? Sometimes I get a lot of people saying, Isaac, can you help me with my mortgage? Isaac, can you help me refinance my mortgage? Isaac, can you help me sell my home? Isaac, can you, and they think I do everything when it comes to money, and I don't. So what I like to do when I sit with a family, and this is a good way to do it if you're sitting with certain family members, is doing this. Susana, I'm Isaac Salcido, okay? And I specialize in, let me explain, right? Where is my focus most of the time? So I do this, right? And I tell the client, Susana, you want to play along? You can just say yes. Awesome. So I'll tell Susana, right? I'll tell Susana, I'm like, Susana, when I sit with my clients, right, they have what we call a portfolio. And what this means is all the assets that they have, right? So how I explain to my clients the focus, what I do is the next thing, right? The first thing is you might have some real estate investing. So you might have some properties renting out. You're about to buy something else. This might be 25% of all your assets. You might have a business. That might be 25% more of your money, your assets. You might have, let's say, stocks. Let's imagine you have another 25% of that. The last 25% or the last percentage is retirement, right? So in the retirement, this is what we call the guarantees. This is where I specialize, Susana, on the retirement. Concerning questions for life insurance and annuities. Why life insurance? Because when do we die? When we're in retirement. And we gotta solve an issue, right? Because is your wife's retirement your issue? Yes. Is your husband's retirement your issue? Yes. So both of them gotta work together concerning if I die, how am I gonna prep you? Second thing is annuities, a pension. Having money for the rest of your life is part of retirement. That's where I'm at. So the reason why I do this, guys, is because I want to start directing people, right? I want to start directing the family, directing the client toward what type of questions they need to ask me, right? I don't want them to start asking me all the questions I don't know. Right? I don't want them to ask me, should I invest in cryptocurrency? I don't know. Should I put my son as the beneficiary for the home? I'm not an estate planning attorney. Even though that's a financial question, I don't know. So how you do it is you do that simple pie where you're guiding them and you let them know is concerning taxes for the future, ask me. Concerning if you pass away, ask me. Concerning being covered, ask me. Concerning having income for life, a pension, right? 401k questions, IRA questions, all of these questions, I am your guy. The blessing of that is that now people, right, start looking at you for what you do and they start asking qualified questions and then they refer you qualified clients, okay? See? And it's super simple. Again, I'm just gonna show you is this, breaking it down, just letting them know. Most families have savings. They might have money in the bank here, let's imagine. They might have a business, and here they might have a family business. I'm on the retirement side. Wherever that family's at, that's how you break it down so you're able to communicate with them, because it's all about them understanding you and you understanding them. Yes? J-Lo, I love that t-shirt. I got one too. There we go. So guys, it's 7:35, and I'm gonna pass on this part of the call for Miss Sandra Mora. Let me know also in the comment section if you enjoyed. Sandra Salcido.
I know, I could see Susana's face.
Salcido.
I'm sorry, guys. Sandra Salcido to take over the next part of the training, and have a phenomenal day, guys. Take care.
Okay. Hi, how is everyone? Happy to be here for the second half of the training. And I just saw Susana's face. She's like, no, that's wrong. I know. My old last name keeps haunting me. Okay, guys. I'm going to be very, very straightforward. I know Isaac talked to everyone about life insurance, how important it is, but and then we've been talking about the different types of life insurance. And then last week we talked about a little bit cash accumulation, and then your perfect client. Today, I'm going to take the next couple of minutes to talk about term, and then to show you how you illustrate a term policy. The reason why, it's because it's one of the easiest policies to sell. And one of the main things that you can see in a term is when you talk to people about protecting their mortgage, they're like right away, they're like, yeah, protect my mortgage in case something happens to me. The house gets paid off, or my wife can pay the house. So it's easier for people sometimes to understand, like to kind of get an idea when you tell them mortgage protection than when you talk to them about life insurance. Whenever you hear someone telling you, oh yeah, they offered me a protection, like a mortgage protection in case something happens to me, it's life insurance. That's it. They just name it mortgage protection so it sounds fancier. And I've had clients in the past that call me that they know I do life insurance, but they're like, hey, Sandra, they call me because they want to protect my mortgage. What do you think about it? I'm like, let me see. And it was a National Life Group term policy. And I'm like, you have a policy already with me. Like, you know what I mean? So sometimes the words can mislead people in the right direction, because in reality, it's a protection for your mortgage if you sell it that way. So I wanted to talk about that today, because it's one of the easiest things to sell. That's one, because everyone wants to protect their assets. And then number two, because I know we're going to talk a little bit at the end about National Life Group, but you have access already to National Life Group, the people that are appointed. And then second, the other companies that you're going to get access sooner than the IRS are going to be Americo and Mutual of Omaha, which they have whole lives, but they're kind of like expertise is term policies that are even called mortgage protectors. And some of those policies are simplified underwriting, which means that they're a little bit more expensive, but they get approved right on the spot. So some people, I don't know if you've heard some clients, oh yeah, they were offering me a life insurance without a medical exam. Oh, they told me that right away, we're not going to need a medical exam. These simplified underwritings don't require a medical exam, but there is a price for it, and there's certain rules and regulations. So I'm just going to go over a simple illustration of a case. So I'm going to write the case here in the chat. So we have a 40-year-old. We're going to call her.
I can't see your screen.
We can't. No, I'm going to put it on the chat. So we have a 40-year-old called Maria. I'm going to call her Maria. Okay. She owns a house, and right now, her mortgage, the loan, it's $250,000. That's common, right? $250,000, right? And we need to get, she still has 20 years to pay off her mortgage. and she wants to protect those 250,000. And right now we're not talking about retirement planning. We're not talking about conversion. We're just talking about plain mortgage protection, okay? So she wants to get a policy to protect her mortgage in case something happens to her in those 20 years, okay? So out of the bat, we can think of National Life Group, and I'm gonna run an illustration here with National Life Group. Then I know you don't have access yet to America, but I'm gonna show you how we run one in America, and then I'm gonna show you Mutual of Omaha, okay? Those three right now. What's gonna be the main difference? Of course, the underwriting part, which we mentioned. National Life Group doesn't have a medical exam unless there's something on your record that shows up, then they'll require a medical exam, right? Now, Simplified with American Mutual of Omaha don't require a medical exam. They'll get approved and they'll let you know right away if it's not approved, okay? And yeah, it's under $3 million with National Life Group. Now, in all these things, we're gonna go more in depth on the training that we're gonna have on September 19. But I just wanna give you a heads up, because as soon as you have access to all these carriers, like, it's one of the main things that you can start selling and promoting, right? So Mutual of Omaha only allows me to do simplified underwriting to 250,000. That's the max that they'll let us do simplified underwriting, okay? So let me show you my screen, because I have, let me reclaim being a host. Reclaim host, okay. So by the way, if it's something that you're interested in doing, you can partner up with realtors and loan officers because they basically just work with the loan. So they can transition that to like, hey, I have a good person that can help you protect your mortgage, right? So if you partner up with loan officers and realtors, it could be a really, really good partnership to do these type of policies. Or even you can kind of, with this partnership, create some flyers together, one part of the flyer, or email marketing, because nowadays there's no flyers, but email marketing, half of the email is talking about rates, and then half of the other email is talking about protecting your mortgage or refinancing, things like that. And you're collaborating together. So when they see you, they associate you with mortgage protection and all that. And once you're sitting down with a client, then you can see other financial means besides this, okay? So now let me share my screen. Okay, so you can see here, let's start with National Life Group. So everyone here is familiar with our platform, right? We have our platform, we go to illustrations, okay? So I'm gonna run a new illustration. Remember, we're doing a term. I'm gonna make sure I'm using the right state. In this case, is California. I'm gonna look for a term, okay? Now, we always write LSW term, LSW Flex Life. Everything that we write, it has to be LSW. Usually you're gonna see two. Why? NL, it's for captive agents with National Life Group. So we don't write those, and it's different rates. So we wanna make sure that we give the right rate. So always do LSW. So we're gonna do an LSW term. So we said it was Maria, and then we're gonna call it Sosa, since I saw that last me here. And then female. So we said it's very important that we have the birthday. In this case, I don't have the birthday, but she's 40 years old, as I wrote. Okay, she was born in August 25th, 1980. Always use standard non-tobacco. If you use express non-tobacco, preferred, elite or select, it's gonna give you a better pricing, but you wanna under promise and over perform. So we don't know if the client is going to qualify for elite. If they do qualify, that's amazing. But if they don't, well, it's going to be higher pricing. So do standard. Now, if they smoke, of course, we're going to select standard tobacco, which is going to put the rating really, really up. Okay, so we're going to use standard on tobacco in this case, very healthy person. So here in this part, we're going to select the specified face amount. Why? Because we already know she only needs 250,000, okay? 250,000. Now, if it was a scenario where the client, it's like, I only have, I don't know, $30 to put aside or $50, how much will that give me in coverage on a term? Then that's when we select specified premium amount, because that's how much we'll do, how much they can pay a premium, and they'll let us know the debt benefit for that. But in this case, for this scenario, we're going to specify this, okay? So they're going to pay it monthly, and then see if there's any riders in here. We already have, we don't have a children's term here, but we have the terminal illness, chronic illness, yes, critical illness, critical injury, yes. Okay, so let's quick view this. And remember we said 20 years. So 250,000 for 20 years, it's $35.20, okay? So $35.20. So if we wanna see the report, see if it shows here. Actually, it can show me here for 20. Right here, only for 20, if I just want to see it for 20. So remember, with National Life Group, we have the option to do it a permanent policy, okay? Before they turn 75 or 5 years before the expiration of the policy. Now, I don't want to go in details because I do not want to like mix all. We're just focusing on term right now. And this is how much it is. It's very simple, right? Very, very simple. You want to see the difference in pricing? Let's see. It's $35.20. So let's say she needs 200,000. It's actually only like $6 less for $50,000 in coverage. It's not a lot. Now, $200,001, which is something that I learned in a training. It's actually, it stays, oh wait, it was giving me, it's $29.48, and 250,000. Maybe because we're in California. 250,000, that's $35.20. So it's $6 difference, okay? So
The one, 250 and
250 and 1. Let me see. Actually, okay. So it is this. So I took a training, and it was telling me for some reason, when you add $1, it gives you like a discount because it takes the discount of the other bracket. So if you add $1, it's actually $4 cheaper. It's weird, but it's just the discount that they have. So $250,001, it's $31.68. If you just write 250,000, it will be $35. So you have a discount right there. We just have to know like kind of the tricks, the ins and outs of this. That's why I strongly recommend, and I want to give big kudos to Susana because I know she was taking trainings today with National Life Group. Those webinars are free for us. And Susana, did you enjoy the webinar? Did you learn?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
do it again.
And do you wanna, let me unmute you. Oh no, you're on mute, but I can't hear you.
I was just gonna say, that adding that extra dollar could be like the cutoff to give you a less amount to pay. I think that's what I got. Yeah.
Yeah, because it gives you like a discount type of thing that they have for going to the other bracket. So those trainings are amazing, to be honest with everyone, because they even have them in Spanish. If you don't feel comfortable taking a training in English, you can take it in Spanish, and they'll show you how to illustrate. Yes.
You save the client $1,200
Yeah.
in 20 years.
Yeah, you save the client $1,200 in 20 years. Can see that because of those little dollars that they save. It's still good, right? It's a discount. So to be honest with everyone, National Life Group, it's the best pricing. I've been shopping around with all the carriers. They have really good pricing. Now, National Life Group, it is very picky when it comes to who they insure. If you have a bankruptcy, they will give you a higher rating. They might not want you, or if you have a DUI, or if you have a problem with your license. So they're very, very picky. I even had a client that was declined because he was around 45 years old and he didn't own a house. So that would put him as a risk classifier, like a really high risk classifier. So they denied him. So they're very picky, but it's a good pricing, okay? So anyone has questions on this National Life Group, it's very simple, right? Okay, No preguntas, no questions? All right. So now let's say, oh, I want it like right now, okay? So we just have to make sure here on the reports that we choose the term that we want, either 20, 15, or 10, right? Once we have the right one, I go EAP, and it's very simple. The questions, everything that you have to ask, very, very simple, okay? I've had some clients getting approved right away, have some clients getting approved in like 2 months, 1 month and a half, 3 weeks, it all depends. Okay, so once we know about National Life Group, I wanna show you now Mutual of Omaha. You're gonna have access to Mutual of Omaha, and this is how your back office in Mutual of Omaha is gonna look. This company, it's a mutual company. They are very popular for having whole lives, good whole lives policies. That was their bread and butter back in the days. All the mutual, like the Northwestern Mutual, all the mutual were really good with whole lives. Now, they have this term policy that it's called Term Life Express. So if we scroll down, once you get access to this, and I'm excited for everyone to have access to this, you're gonna be able to click on online quoting. Online quoting, sorry, my English. We have a Children's Whole Life. They have a Guarantee Advantage, a Universal Life, an Index Universal Life Express, which it means simplified underwriting. In this case, I'm only 1 to 3 days, Mr. Salcido said. So in this case, we're talking about Term Life Express, okay? So same thing, female. We said she was 40, right? Yeah, we said 40. So no tobacco. We want 20 years and 250,000. 1, 2, 3. Can you see that the most that we can write with them, it's 300,000? Mm-hmm. They limit us here. I'm gonna zoom it here from 25,000 to 300,000, okay? Because they have those limitations. Now, we're not gonna add any writers right now, and then we're gonna calculate this. Voila. So this is how much it's a $250,000 term, $82.10. So the difference, it's quite some difference. It's like $45 a month of difference, okay? Why? You might ask, like, why, Sandra? Why is it that difference? Well, it's because of the express, that the simplified underwriting, that they don't need a medical exam. So they will get approved. Now, Mutual of Omaha has options for conversion as well, which we'll talk about it in the future, but you can convert it to a whole life. Now, we do see a difference in pricing. So this is the reason why we'll have a lot of options for clients, but whenever we choose the right product for a client, we have to make sure we act as fiduciaries. Does everyone know what's a fiduciary? Mm-hmm. It's in your license. When you study for the license, we are not a certified fiduciary, but you have to act as a fiduciary, which means that you're doing the best for the best interest of your client, not your pocket, not your wallet. So that is why we have to understand and know when are we offering certain type of products. Believe me, I've had clients that have, as a matter of fact, I had a client that I just called because I was not able to offer him in the past something with simplified underwriting. He doesn't want a medical exam. He's like, I just don't want a medical exam. They have offered me something. I don't care if it's more expensive. I don't care, which is totally fine. Just have to let them know, well, it's a little bit more pricey, right? When it comes to the pricing and this and that. So it's very important that you are able to do that with your clients and make them understand, like, there's options, because you work here for the clients. So if they're like, no, I don't like National Life Group, I don't like, it's okay. We have options, but the pricing is different, okay? So any questions so far here with Mutual of Omaha? No? Susana, you have a question?
Yeah, I know with National Life Group, if you were to add a rider for the children, I have questions on that because I know it was just very little,
Mhm.
very little amount to add, like up to $25,000 for their children. And I thought that was really good because they offer you like maybe 5,000, but
Mhm.
my question is, do mutual, what's it called?
Mutual
Mutual,
of Omaha?
uh-huh,
Yes.
do they offer it as well,
Yeah,
or how
right
much?
here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so children rider,
1,000?
5,000 or 10,000. You select. In this case, it's 5,000. So it doesn't go up by a lot. It goes out by like $3. So there's an option there to do that if you just want pure term. And usually the way I've seen agents pitch this, because it's not like you're having a cash value policy for your children or anything, but it's just like for, it could be funeral expenses or medical additional expenses, or just some, I mean, I think funeral expenses are more expensive than 5,000, but you know, there's something additional for only $2. It makes sense. You want to make sure you let know your client, hey, you need to have something in place for your child as well, right? This is just an add-on that you can receive for like $2 more. But most of the carriers offer that. Most of them, not every. Okay.
And is that only up until they turn 16, and then later on they can have their own policy, right?
They can actually have their, well, they can have their own policy at any age. You're just going to be the owner and they're going to be the insured. Now, the children's rider, it does have a limit, so it only covers until their age of 16. Now, each company is different. National Life, if it's 16, Mutual of Omaha, I can get that information for you because it's usually 16. But they can have a policy if they're 2 months old. That's totally fine. Someone, no, that was Isaac. I think you were having a question. Okay. So this is for Mutual of Omaha. They have the disability income rider, accidental death benefit rider as well. I don't want to get into too much, like the details. I just want you to know kind of like, okay, when you see this company, you're going to be able to know how to illustrate. Now, believe me, I've seen a lot of agents writing these policies as pancakes or like this, because a lot of people are refinancing their house right now. They're buying new homes, rates are really low, and they're seeing it as an opportunity to sell the mortgage protection. Okay. So I only did the Term Life Express. Now the Term Life Answers, I could do more. Actually, you could do up to, I believe, 1 million. And now this one, yeah. So this one it's going to require a medical exam. It is going to require a medical history from the doctor. It is going to require more. Okay, just to be aware of that. And it's just the Express that doesn't. Okay, so good with Mutual of Omaha. Then we're going to have an Americo. I logged in already. Okay, so with Americo, are you going to show me something? Oh, let me show you them that. Yeah. So you could see the difference. Female tobacco use. No, you use 20 years, right? 250,000. This Term Life Answers, it's not a express policy. Look, how much is it? $33. So this policy is going to take like longer to get approved because it's going to take regular underwriting. So the difference, it's quite some money because you want it right on the spot approved. Okay. So in reality, it's not a bad company. It's just that if you want it, the faster underwriting, that's going to be more money for the client. Okay. Okay. So now let's jump here into Americo. This is going to be your portal for Americo. You're going to be able to see products and supplies, sales tools, resources center, e-kit. Now let's click on sales tools. Okay, let's see right here. See where it says mortgage here? I just wanted to show you this part because you're going to eventually you're going to get this. Okay. Right here, it's the mortgage. It's the flyer, the worksheet, rate sheet that you might have for mortgage prospecting and everything that it gives you, the company that it gives you access to it. This is specifically for Americo. Okay. So let me got it. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Let me access the, I know, I'm almost done. Isaac is like, hurry up. They want to go to on time. I know, I'm coming. Sorry, guys. I don't know why it's not taking me to the.
Miracle aging coffee.
No. It's supposed to take me to the quote part, but it's not leaving that page. Let me a second.
Medical cafe. Aging cafe.
Give me a second, guys. Now, you know, it's not uploading. It's my internet. So give me a second so I can. It's my internet.
Yeah.
Look.
Click Americal over here. Click Americal Aging Cafe.
That's a faster route.
There we go. Click that. And that is someone that you don't even have to have get a.
That's just for quoting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so here, I'll send you, you'll have access to all this, but there's a place to do it as well. It just doesn't upload for me to do it on your back office. So this is a quote. So you always have to select the state. In this case, you're gonna have to know the products, but for example, this one, the HMS Plus 125, it's a mortgage protector term, okay? And you'll have access to see all the information of which policies are what, okay? So we said 40-year-old Maria, female. We're gonna do standard non-nicotine, and then 250,000 we said, 1, 2, 3. And then we'll have all these years, well, we only need 20 years to compare. So run. Now that's a simplified quote too, that one. See, $91.71 for a $250,000 term. I know you're like, it's a bit different. Yeah, it's the simplified process that makes it more expensive. Okay, just to be aware. Because think about it. If you don't have a medical exam and if you don't require that to your client, it's more risk. Because you don't know if they might be sick, if they might have something. So there is more risk with that. So the company's taking the risk of doing that and giving them coverage. Okay. So I wanted you to know how to do that. Did you send them the link? Because you can play around with this one even if you're not appointed with the company. Okay. So these policies are very, very simple. You're gonna learn more on September 19 on how to submit the applications and everything. But I just want you to know what it's out there to start. We can start with those terms. Now, there is more complex planning that we're gonna do that it doesn't only involve a term policy. Like there's universal lives and whole lives that we talked about. But with this, I know it's gonna give you the resources to at least start writing something, start thinking about a realtor, a loan officer that you can partner with. So you can start strategizing for that. Either send email marketing and all that. So that way you start with this. And if you think about it, let's say you do a policy with $30 policy, right? So $35 policy times 12, that's $420 in a month, in a year premium. So let's say you're at 80% contract, an example, at 80%, that's $336 of commission for just a simple policy that it's not going to take you a long time to write, and it's not going to take you so much from your time because it's not like you're doing structure and difficult financial planning. Okay. Let's see. Let's look at, Elvia, it says, let's look at how the policies work as well, because most of these policies that have no underwriting have contestability periods. Actually, yeah. In most of the policies have a 2-year, actually not most, all of them have 2-year, all of the companies use a 2-year contestability period. Now, the reason why it's that they want to make sure that it was not fraud. Of course, they're going to have their rules and regulations that we're going to be able to see the flyers on what applies. Now, what contestability period means, for example, in National Life Grid, it means that if, let's say, something happens to the client, they're going to actually do an investigation to see if it was not fraud. That's why, have you guys heard of, oh, it's not going to cover suicide the first 2 years? And that's a law overall in all companies because of fraud. And with the contestability period as well, like if something happens, they'll have to check to make sure with the doctor how it happened, that they did not lie on the application. That's very important, that they did not lie when they were submitting the application, because of course, even though it's non-simplified, it's going to ask them, do you have cancer, right? And if we put, no, they don't, and all of a sudden they did have cancer and they knew about it, well, that's an issue, right? So all those things that we have to get it of the rules and regulations, that's correct, okay? Anyone has any questions? I went over my limit. I just wanted to make sure, let me stop this. I just wanted to make sure that we understand a term and that we're prepared for when we have access to this. We at least know how to do an illustration on a term and submit the application. You just click on the iGo e-app. All of them have online applications. Mutual of Omaha America, National Life Group. We have more companies that do term, but they all have iGo e-apps because they're not difficult policies. They're not structured policies. So it's very simple to write. Does anyone wants to add anything, any questions that you might have? Isaac, do you want to add anything?
Can you guys hear me? Yes? No, I want to add that I really enjoyed this training, right? Sandra, getting those notes, actually Sandra showed me that of the dollar like 30 minutes ago, and I was like, wow. So definitely understanding, it's important, like concerning Elvia, right? Reading the contract, getting an idea of how it works, and making sure that the contract is the best thing for the client. There's always different products and situations for the clients, right? So that's where we want to make sure that we're able to go out there and help the clients and have diversity concerning products. Now, quick announcement before we hang up this call is, first thing is, everybody received a welcome email. Now you can continue to write business with National Life Group. The only caveat is that whatever contract level you were in, that's the same contract level you're going to be paid at. We can't move that as of now. By October 1st, we're going to be able to start. So in a month from now, we're going to start the process on doing some changes where we're going to start making sure that you get compensated a bit more, right? Starting on October 1st, we'll start that process, right? But as of now, if there's any type of policies you guys need to submit as an emergency, the National Life Group website and e-app is ready to go, right? Concerning these other carriers, we're waiting. We're continue to wait on getting them approved. We're thinking maybe around next week. But if there's any type of updates, we'll connect with you. And the second thing is concerning with a lot of individuals, right? Most of the time, right, when we think about going out there and helping families, most people won't meet up on a Monday because Mondays are busy, right? Mondays are crazy. We're running everywhere. I was literally driving over here. So, so when it comes to Mondays, right, that's where we decided we used to do our trainings Monday because of that, because most families are busy and they start setting up appointments after Tuesday. So you'll see that you can set up more appointments on Tuesday at 7 p.m. than on Monday at 7 p.m. because they're just starting their week. Okay, for them, it feels also almost like a Sunday. So the focus that I'm thinking that we should do, and as we communicate, is for the purpose of everybody going out there and being able to produce more, let's try to see if we can change. We'll figure that out, right? Talk to everybody on WhatsApp, but we might move the